When the news spread across the Desert Front Naval Special Operations Training Base that a new recruit was arriving, the entire camp buzzed with curiosity. Every soldier knew that new arrivals were rare, but this one felt different. The base commander, Commander Briggs, had only said that this recruit was a special case, and that everyone should be on their best performance. No one knew that the quiet woman walking through those metal gates that morning wasn't just another recruit. She was their incoming Admiral, arriving undercover to live, breathe, and understand the life of her soldiers before officially taking command. Her name was Adira Kane, and within months that name would echo through every corridor of the Pacific Fleet as a legend. But that morning, to everyone else, she was just a rookie, someone they'd test, mock, and underestimate. The desert wind swept across the training ground as Adira stepped onto the base, wearing standard fatigues and a calm expression. Her arrival drew whispers from every corner, some amused, some intrigued. "Looks like a city girl," one cadet chuckled. "Probably won't survive a week." Another smirked. "She's confident, but wait till the drills start." They had no idea that she'd spent years running classified missions, that she'd survived operations that others never returned from, and that this disguise was part of a top-secret leadership assessment ordered by the Fleet Command itself. Only two people knew her real identity, Commander Briggs and Fleet Admiral Harlow. To everyone else, she was simply Recruit Kane. At 0500 hours, the training whistle blew. The recruits stood in formation, the chill of dawn crawling over the sand. Commander Briggs barked, "Recruits! Today we find out who's here to be a soldier, and who's just here to pretend." The drills began, endless push-ups, sprints, and obstacle courses that tested every ounce of endurance. Adira moved with perfect form, steady, silent, efficient. Her rhythm drew attention. Some were impressed, most were irritated. "Show off," someone muttered. "Let's humble her," another whispered. And so, during the evening's field simulation, they decided to test her, by setting her up to fail. The scenario was simple. Rescue a downed pilot from hostile territory. Adira was assigned a team, Cole, Riven, Torres, and Mace, all of whom had already decided she needed a reality check. Midway through the simulation, Torres deliberately took a wrong turn while Cole switched off the radio. "Signal's dead," he said with mock concern. "Rookie, you lead now. Let's see what you're made of." They expected panic. Instead, Adira knelt down, scooped up a handful of sand and let it sift through her fingers as she studied the compass. "We're off by 3 clicks, she said calmly. "Head northwest, base grid 7.2. Cole scoffed. "Lucky guess." But when they followed her direction, the signal reconnected, exactly as she'd predicted. The men exchanged uneasy glances. Something about this rookie didn't add up. That night, during the heavy lifting drills, her team left her to carry the load alone, a punishment for making them look bad. She didn't complain. She lifted each crate one after another, her breathing steady, her focus unwavering. Commander Briggs, watching from a distance, smiled faintly. He knew she wouldn't reveal herself, not until the right moment. The next day came hand-to-hand combat training. Recruits were paired for sparring. Cole volunteered to face Adira, hoping to put her in her place in front of everyone. "Ready, recruit?" he taunted. "Always," she replied coolly. Within 3 seconds of the whistle, she flipped him cleanly onto the mat. The room fell silent. Briggs blew the whistle again. "Enough!" But Cole, humiliated, lunged at her again, breaking the rules. Adira's reflexes were faster than thought itself. She locked his wrist, pivoted, and immobilized him effortlessly. "You're done," she said, and stepped back. The silence that followed was heavier than any words. No one dared laugh now. Over the next few days, Adira aced every test: tactical simulations, endurance trials, strategic planning. Her calm leadership under pressure unsettled everyone who had mocked her. Then came the most important test, a full-scale rescue simulation involving multiple squads. Cole's team opted for brute force assault. Adira designed a stealth infiltration plan. High risk, high precision. When it ended, her team was the only one to complete the mission without a single casualty. Commander Briggs clapped slowly. "That's how you lead a mission." Cole stared at the ground. The rookie had just outclassed every one of them. Rumors spread like wildfire that night. Some said she was ex-intelligence, others whispered she was from a covert ops unit. Nobody could believe a new recruit could operate like that. 3 days later, the base prepared for a high-level inspection from Fleet Command. Every recruit stood in formation, boots aligned, hearts racing. Commander Briggs stepped forward and said, "Today, you meet the officer who will soon command not just this base, but every operation under our Pacific Fleet." A jeep rolled in, the sound of tires crunching over gravel. The recruit straightened as an officer stepped out, her uniform now bearing the insignia of an admiral. "Admiral Adira Kane," Briggs announced. A wave of shock rippled through the ranks. The same woman they'd laughed at, challenged, and ignored was their incoming admiral. Cole's face drained of color. Riven swallowed hard. Adira looked at them and spoke evenly. "At ease, soldiers." She walked slowly down the line. "You all judged me the moment I walked in. You assumed strength comes from medals and rank, but a real soldier isn't defined by what's on their chest. It's by how they stand when everyone else turns away." Her gaze landed on Cole. "And leadership isn't ego. It's service." Commander Briggs saluted proudly. "Welcome back, Admiral." Everything changed after that. The recruits who once mocked her now trained under her with absolute respect. But Adira didn't punish anyone. Instead, she chose those same men for her advanced tactical unit. Cole, the one who had tried to humiliate her, became one of her most loyal soldiers. Under her leadership, the base's operational efficiency doubled within months. She introduced a new philosophy. Power isn't control, it's responsibility. Those words became the base's new creed. Their first real mission came soon after. Operation Silent Dune. A hostile insurgent group had captured a border outpost, and Adira's team was sent to retrieve it. Most commanders would have stayed back and led remotely, but Adira refused. "If I ask my people to risk their lives," she said, "I'll risk mine too." Under the scorching 47-degree desert heat, her team marched 12 kilometers beneath enemy radar. Her plan was surgical. Torres and Riven would disable communications while she and Cole infiltrated the main compound. The operation unfolded perfectly, until a trap was triggered near their exit route. Most leaders would have panicked. Adira didn't. Using her deep tactical memory, she recalled an old storm drain route she'd noticed on satellite maps days earlier. "Follow me," she ordered, leading them through the buried passage to safety. The team escaped unharmed, and the mission was a total success. When they returned, the base celebrated her as Iron Shadow, the woman who commanded without chaos. Fleet Command awarded her the Medal of Exemplary Leadership, but during the ceremony she said, "I don't need a medal. I need a team that never underestimates another soldier again." That line went viral across military channels, inspiring recruits worldwide. Over the following weeks, Admiral Kane began personally training new recruits. She created a new exercise, Empathy Under Fire. In it, trainees swapped roles to understand what their teammates experienced in the field. "Before you judge," she said, "stand in their boots." The results were transformative. The base's unity and morale skyrocketed. Within months, the command appointed her to lead the National Training Overhaul Program, reshaping the future of naval leadership. One evening, as the sun dipped below the dunes, Cole approached her quietly. "Ma'am," he said, "I wanted to apologize for how I treated you when you first arrived. I thought you were just a rookie." "I didn't know it," she interrupted gently. "Cole, apologies are for mistakes made with bad intentions. You were testing a teammate. Now you've tested yourself." Cole stood straighter, saluted. "Yes, ma'am." She smiled faintly. "Good, now show me what kind of soldier you've become." Months later, a classified mission arrived, Operation Black Tempest. A rogue submarine had sabotaged communication cables deep in the Pacific. Adira led the counter-operation personally, coordinating divers, drone pilots, and surface units across multiple time zones. Midway through, a drone malfunctioned, threatening to compromise the mission. The command center went silent. Adira's voice broke through. "No panic. Follow grid Delta 5 sequence." Her calm precision steadied the entire operation. Within minutes, they regained control and completed the mission. The media later called her the Admiral who commands chaos. But for her soldiers, she wasn't just an admiral. She was their mentor, their shield. One night, as the base glowed under the desert twilight, Commander Briggs joined her by the watchtower. "Adira," he said, "I remember the day you arrived. Everyone doubted you." She smiled softly. "Sometimes the best way to earn respect is to let them doubt first." When you prove them wrong, you don't just change their minds, you change who they are. She looked out toward the horizon. Leadership isn't about orders or volume. It's about making sure no one in the last line ever feels alone.